Good evening and welcome back, Poetry Lovers. It is I, ZM Wise, and here I am with Miss Veronica Cross, a poet and Illinois native like myself. So, the first question I have for you is your involvement in Louder Than a Bomb. So, want to tell us a bit about that? What did that entail for you?
Louder Than a Bomb was one of the best experiences of my life. I was in it for 3.5 years. Unfortunately, I moved to Texas and didn't get to do it my senior year. Not that Texas is unfortunate, but I just I miss it. I originally got interested in Louder Than a Bomb when I was in middle school, and my older sister was also participating in it. She showed me the documentary, which used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on there. But she showed me that a long time ago, and I had started getting interested in writing, and she told me about all these amazing experiences she had, and it really inspired me. And so when I got to high school, I signed up for Creative Writing Club and auditioned for the team, and I made it. It was a very emotional experience. Like, you can't go to one of those readings without feeling so much. I mean, just so many issues were covered personally and around the world, and it's just this amazing, beautiful community. It's a competition, but no one there wants to watch you crash and burn. It's so supportive and loving, and it was just the most amazing experience.
That's absolutely wonderful. What number one highlight did you take from that? What have you carried with you since then?
That's a really hard question. I have so many wonderful memories.
Give us one.
Probably the first time I performed. It was a piece about my dad, and I ended up crying on stage, and I was so nervous and scared. I was afraid what people would think of it, and I actually got a 10 on one of my pieces. After I finished my piece and walked off the stage, I pretty much went straight into my coach, Diana Zwinnick's arms. She runs a company, or a nonprofit organization called Teen Writers and Artists Project, if you'd like to look that up. It's amazing, and you can donate to it, and so many people who inspired me on that journey is part of that as well. But anyway, so after I got off the stage, I went straight into her arms, and I was crying, and I was listening to the scores, and I heard that 10, and I started crying even harder. Like, I'm happy that I got a good score, but that's not what it meant to me. It meant a lot more. It was very validating, because before I got into high school and entered that community, I felt very alone in the world. And then all these people started hugging me and telling me how much they loved my piece, and told me a little about their own experiences, and just that first experience with LTAP was amazing. And like, the judge that gave me a 10, she talked to me later. We were talking about our own experiences, and she told me how the piece resonated with her, and that was just a very special moment.
That's absolutely wonderful. That's just wonderful. Can you tell us a bit about your various writing styles and what topics influence you?
Being in Louder Than a Bomb, a lot of my writing is spoken word. Since I have left that, unfortunately, I haven't written as much, but what I have written has branched a little away from spoken word. I still feel that a lot of my pieces are still better out loud. I've written about my family, how I see myself and others. I've written about how I miss Illinois. I just write whenever I feel like writing.
That's best. That's definitely right when it comes natural to you. Do you plan on relocating back to Illinois eventually? And when you do, are you thinking of building something from the ground up, or encouraging others to go to LTAB, or what's in store for you, do you think?
Well, going back to Illinois is something I've thought about. If I had never moved to Texas, I'd like to think that I would still be a part of this huge poetry movement that some of my closest friends from those years had been starting. So if I went back there, I would really like to start getting involved with Teen Writers and Artists Project. I don't know about building anything from the ground up. I mean, going back to Illinois is very theoretical. I mean, I'm 21. There's still a lot to do before I think of moving anywhere. But that is something in my head that I would like to do someday if that works out. I don't know. But either way, I really want to encourage other people to write, because it just helped me so much when I was in high school. Definitely. And since then as well.
Definitely. What advice to newcomers, whether it's spoken word, music, visual art, writing, what advice do you have for newcomers?
Well, for writing, and this could work for anything else, just replace the first word. Poetry has no prerequisites. If you've had a nice life, you don't have any pain to write about, that's fine. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. If you want to write, or paint, or draw, or sing. Do what makes you happy. And it helps a lot.
Definitely. Who or what are some of your key influences in this particular artistic journey you've taken?
Number one is my older sister, Veronica Cross. Growing up, I mean, we're sisters. It was a small house. We had 2 other siblings. We had our arguments, but when it came down to it, she was one of my best friends. She really inspired me in my writing. And going through LTAB, she was in college. She actually got to come and see me perform a couple times, and it meant the world to me. I love her so much, and she inspires me every day. We actually have matching tattoos. That mine is right here. It says "Poet Breathe Now," which is the title of a piece by Adam Gottlieb, who is also involved with Teen Writers and Artists Project. He was in Louder Than a Bomb in the documentary, and I actually got to meet him in those years in Illinois, and actually became friends with him, and that's another one of my favorite memories. Was the first night I met him. It was amazing. He's another one of my big inspirations, and also my coach, Diana Zwinnick, who I mentioned earlier. She helped me so much. I love her to death, and I really miss her. And everybody on my team, too. Shane, and Jenna, and Jenny, and Desiree, and Dana, and Griffin, and Cody, and Kira. It's been a long time. I miss them all very much, and I really hope they're still writing. I mean, being so far away, I haven't really kept in close contact with them, but they're always in my thoughts, and they still inspire me.
Definitely. That's wonderful. Where can we find your work?
I don't have anything published right now. And this is the first video I've ever done. I go to Zach's readings often at Barnes & Noble and Nocturne. You'll most likely see me there doing the open mic. I'm a little too shy to be the featured, as much as he's asked me.
Well, on that note, would you mind sharing a couple samples with us?
Yeah. This first one I'm going to read, I wrote a little over a year ago, around when I first met Zach. He's another person who inspires me a lot. I didn't write much since I moved from Illinois to Texas. I didn't have that community anymore, and then I found Zach, and he brought me back into it, and that meant the world to me. Anyway, I wrote this piece shortly after I met him. It's not about him, like I wrote this when I was watching a movie called Hawaii, and in the movie they were like out in the middle of nowhere in Hawaii, and all the stars were beautiful, and so you'll see how that pertains to the piece. But anyway, the first reading I went to with him, I was too scared to read it then. And then recently, it was an annual poetry reading. They had it again, and I read this piece, and I wanted to read it again for this, because it's one of my favorites. It's one of the first that I wrote when I started writing again, and it means a lot to me. It doesn't have a title.
All right.
Take me where I can see the stars. No light to pollute the sky, just a black canvas, pinpricked with silver, smoky, swirling nebulas, and a stark, glowing moon. I want to see it all with my own eyes, and reflect it in yours. Take me to the crystal blue waters, pastel corals teeming with bright, symbiotic life, salt spray sticking to our skin, a gentle breeze tempting us to float away with the waves. I want to feel the sand beneath my feet and your hand in mine. Take me through the streets of a foreign city, losing ourselves in another culture, another language, dressing their patterns, trying new foods. I want to dance beneath the lanterns illuminating the town. I want to dance with you. Take me to museums. History, science, music, art, where past and present collide, come into life, to places celebrating creative minds. I want to learn new things and to discover them with you. Take me to the lakefront, to enjoy the sun and sounds of nature, have a picnic watching the still water, then disturb it when you push me off the dock, swimming, splashing, laughing. I want the cool sensation of beginning night, to watch the sunset with you. Take me into your arms during a storm, cuddled together through every crack of thunder, every flash of lightning, the warmth of each other and our shared breaths, bliss. I want to fall asleep to the sound of your heartbeat, coupled with the rain like a lullaby, to slumber and to dream with you.
Oof. Lovely. I will be sure to remind this fellow Zach that you that you wrote that.
I'll read the one I told you that I wrote about missing home.
Ooh, yes.
I don't think it's one of my best pieces, but it means a lot to me, and to show this part of me is important. It is called Home.
All right.
Sidewalks laden with leaves, then snow-fallen trees. Bright pastel buds return, popsicles and sunburn. The seasons of home. Missing the changes, this new place so constant, rain and sun, wind and slight chill. That's about it. No sunsets in the trees, no snowmen, constant green, spring no longer special, always same summer. I miss willow trees, calmly waving over lakes, offering the most beautiful shade. Southern winds sweep them away. I see no fireflies, no blinking starlight among the grass and cornfields. Visiting. I'd forgotten how the hills rolled, sunrise on the barren trees, some still clinging to the colors of fall, the dry, cold air welcoming me from the humidity. Leaving again, I miss it that much more.
You heard it from her, Miss Veronica Cross. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us this evening, and hope to see you writing soon. Poetry lives.